Hello, hello, and welcome to the stream if you're watching this in the future. So I wanted to see if I could do a couple of hours of work on the project here. We'll see how it goes. I'll have to go do some stuff later on, and I also haven't done all my work related to my real job for the day. So yeah, there's definitely limited time today. Um, yeah, but we should get going. Yeah, right now we could add an object and move it up. I do think that we need some kind of scaling on the UI here. I think we should improve the code on the UI. Since it's yeah, something that we definitely could improve on. Let me just see here. And also I thought about the changes that we made to the renderer. Well, I might do something else entirely down the line. Maybe do it multi-threaded if we need the performance eventually. Yeah, this is the first time I built such an engine from scratch. Hello, buddy. Welcome. So it's definitely a learning experience. How are you doing? I'm all right. I just came home from the gym and work. Decided to do a couple of hours of streaming before I got to do something else. What are you up to? Hello, Georgie. Oh, okay. Interesting. Did you ever get to a point where the DirectX12 stuff worked or the DirectX11 worked as intended? Or did you abandon that? Hello, buddy. That sounds nice. Oh, great, man. I'm happy to hear. Are you doing any particular project right now, or? Let's see, failure. Mm, we could do something like, whoops, sorry about that. Let's see. And then maybe, yeah, sure. Sounds interesting. Let me know how you find the Vulkan stuff. Maybe. No. Uh, I did SDL back in the day, but not much. So, but I hear that OpenGL is way more simple. Maybe we should do something like this. I want to create a list box for the UI here so that I can list different things, for instance, objects. So, and it should be scrollable. I don't know if it should have a header or if it just should have maybe. Okay, thanks for dropping by. Good to see you, man. Good that you have progress on your DirectX12 project. Maybe I just want something like, whoops. Well, if you like to suffer, a complicated API is the way to go. Maybe we want something like this and then just, of course, not in these colors, but whoops. Maybe something like this, item, item, item. Okay. Well, that would be fine, wouldn't it? So, yeah, maybe no need for the header. We could always do a text sort of thing. So, oh, I think that's highly, yeah, um, the knowledge about how the drivers work for each graphics vendor is proprietary. So I'm pretty sure you're not gonna do that unless you start working with Microsoft or directly at NVIDIA and AMD. They won't give you access to the different driver calls that you need to make in a graphics API. Well, I only think assembly is directly relatable to a CPU. You don't know how the architecture on the particular GPU you want to do instructions on is, so you would have a hard time actually doing any instructions. That's what I mean by it's proprietary. NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel have closed that off to everyone else but themselves and Microsoft and the people doing Vulkan. OpenGL, of course, but maybe if you get a foot in the door, you'll be lucky. Okay, let's see. So if we're gonna create a UI here, render UI. Let's see, a list box control here. Oh, okay. But yeah, it would be nice. I think a lot of people would love you if you did a API that made sense across platforms with high performance as well. But yeah, Jonathan Blow talks about us needing a open source hardware platform that can be open about how to do instructions on their hardware and how to build an API for it. All right, let's see. Yeah, probably. You can do a lot of different stuff. I think Vulkan is pretty much uh, usable on most platforms, if not all. Okay, let's see. We create a void here that we call list box. We of course need a sort of name for it. Because otherwise we can't check these states between frames. Let's see. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a string reference here, or rather R value. And let's do a const, no, not const, unsigned int reference selected item, and let's do a const char pointer object list, and then a unsigned int objects, number of objects, and then let's do this const. Let's do a const shown objects here. Okay. So we create a list box by giving it a name. The name is what the API uses to compare between frames. We of course want to be able to store whatever item we have. We want a list of objects. We don't want to know how long that list is because we only have pointers, and we don't want to be out of bounds. And then we want to describe how many items is supposed to be shown before we do a scroller. Okay, let's see. If we don't have a context, we don't want to do anything. We want a UI object here. Objects, and we definitely, oops, I don't know what that suggestion was, Mr. Intelligence. Let's see. Type UI object type list box. Now we need some different controls here in terms of what to do with the list box. Of course, we need to calculate the width and the height. Let's see. Right now we do something like 200. We want to set the width and the height. Well, I'll refactor a bit of this because we need to fix some stuff here eventually. Let's just set that to 200. I don't know. And then the height is equal to the number of objects. No. Shown objects times whatever sizing we need to give that. Let's create a bigger area here. I really want to do this dynamically instead, but I'll have to rewrite parts of the UI stuff here. Yeah, so let's imagine that we want to draw a list box down here. We know how many rows we want. We want to add it to our current frame objects with the text and the object here. Of course, we need to in place that, but So we have the, oh, we also need to set the context. So we do set a width and height. We do set a type. For a text, we have fairly simple processing. We can't interact with it, but we need some kind of interaction between the scroll bar percentage and the percentage of the visible objects, so to speak. I don't know what to call that, but we want the scroll bar. We want item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Imagine that we create a list box. Shown count is 4. That would mean that the box initially shows these 4 objects, but these should be hidden until we scroll. And then as we scroll, we want to move some percentage of the total height. Maybe the object needs a maximum height. And a minimum height. Maybe we want something like that, but we really want to store that on the object here. Or could we default it some way? I mean, what does our renderer need? It needs some information about how to draw the primitives that are the box here. We need a big box that is the outline. Then we need a indented series of boxes that do not span the whole width. And then we need a box that is sort of a scroll bar here. And then maybe we want a box inside that. What is the most efficient way to draw something like this? I mean, this could be a box, of course. I think that the height is fine to store because it's whatever is visible, and we will know how much a row is spanning, meaning that we can calculate the max height. But when we create it, we can't store how many objects are supposed to be drawn inside. It's a question about how much data you want to store. we want to store a inner struct of some kind slash union. Well, it's certainly one way to do it. Just store the amount of objects that it needs. I mean, to pass on. Well, we would also need to create. Well, we could do. We could store each element in some kind of buffer that we keep for a frame. But then if we do more than one list box, we also want an offset. Well, we want to be able to draw the objects on the list, so we need some kind of reference for that. Um, um, the problem is, I think count is occasionally, I think the count macro size of C++ macro, is it compile time? I think it is. Both are constant expressions, so that let's see, compile time. Is a compile time operator, yeah, so we can use it dynamically. Count. Array. Yeah, I think it's compile time. So you found a diamond. That sounds pretty awesome, man. Could we imagine? Oh, thank you. That's such a nice compliment. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing? I think there's a point to. Why, thank you. Sorry, I misunderstood. Uh, you're doing good? Ah, okay. Where you living? So if we store the amount of objects, but would we also like a pointer to? Oh, okay, cool. How late at night is it? Let's see. Maybe we just want something that uh, is stored in a vector because maybe, well, how would I know what the internal value would be? Oh, okay. Yeah, I would need to store some information. Um, the UI object does get passed on to this map here, meaning that we could store some um, elements on it. Uh, well, if we did a pointer, well, that might be troublesome managing that piece of memory because once we do our rendering data compilation here, um, I think that we need some way of like doing each row of this control because we need to write something to it and know which value it has. I think that the actual handling of the value itself will be inside here because like the buttons we can control which ones are clicked or whatever and send back that state, so we don't need that. We just need a way to write out the lists. So we don't care about the indices, we just need to know some bounds on it. We could also just store the pointer and store the amount of objects. Let's do a yeah, I think we could do something like void pointer data and then a range on the actual objects. That would be 16 bytes more, probably. I don't know, depending on the architecture. We could use this for any data reference, meaning that we could simply store this pointer, we could simply store the number of objects, we would know when we would overflow, we would know Well, we also need a slider percentage. Ah, man. This object starts to get big. Maybe we want a different object. Well, depending on how many different resources we want, we might need to refactor parts of this UI. So maybe I'm just wondering too much about how to build it optimally, and instead should maybe just focus on building something. Uh, there are different considerations to all of this, though, and I'm pretty sure that this will not be the best implementation. Yeah. Okay, whatever. We're just gonna build something. Mm, or maybe. Uh, Object data. I know this will do somewhat the same. Uh, List box slider percent. Okay. And let's do some object data here. Data. There we go. Okay. We will try this. Let me see if everything compiles now. Yeah, everything's fine. Okay, so let's see. Our object here, data. Uh, well, oh, we need to name this. List box. Let's see. How to do union of structs. Ah, okay. Okay, let's do a list box here, and then a union, which we call object data list box and data. Okay, this should be the syntax, right? Well, not entirely. Let's see. Let's see. Does this work? No. Let's see. It doesn't like that. We have a struct list box here, and we okay. It wants a It really doesn't like that. Mm, okay. Well, info. Is it the naming? No, shouldn't be the naming. Of course not. The default constructor is not valid. God damn you. Stupid C++. Struct and union initialization. Oh. Okay, I'm not gonna bother too long doing that. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm not gonna bother. I'm simply gonna store these values here until I figure that out. Okay. Who risked me? What does that mean? I have to Google what wrist means. Oh. I don't think the fine as knight um, uh, statement was related to me. But I think it was how he was doing. He was doing great, it seems. Even though if it were related to me, it would be a. Yeah, I could follow you what you mean in terms of being wrist. People have been so nice lately. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Okay, if we start the object list and the range at least, and then calculate the slider position, I think we're done in terms of being able to render something. Okay, let's just copy our text code here. Text buffer. Yeah. He was such a nice fellow. Okay, let's. Yeah, I finally have more subs than videos. Yeah, the last few weeks have been pretty amazing in that regard. People have been so nice, and yeah, a lot of people seem to want to drop by the channel and interact, and yeah. Uh, yeah, so let's start creating our object here. So I'm thinking that hmm, maybe we should segment this so that we kind of draw this part here first. Yeah, as you can see here, it will just be a red square with some width and height. Um, let's start doing that. I don't think it should be red, should it? Well, we can do it red. It won't fit the UI, but at least we would know what we're doing. Okay, let me expand this a bit. I really. Okay, thanks for dropping by. Nice to see you again. So let's see. We want the second parameter here and the height. We also want the width. Let's just calculate that. Oh wait, so in order to create a big red box, we should do a primitive. Let's see, we will add it to our primitive list. And we call it UI element as expected. Background. Rena build primitive. Okay, I actually need to set some parameters here. This is for the... Yo, buddy! Long time no see. How are you doing? Yeah, everyone has been so nice lately. So things are, well, yeah, going great in that regard. objects. How are you doing? Whoops. Why do you suggest that, Mr. Whoops. Mr. Intelligence. I'm happy to hear, man. I feel great that you dropped by as well. How's it going with your project? Oh, how nice of you. I'm happy that you did. I upgraded your member status on the Discord. I don't know if it's sufficient, but you could check it out eventually. Okay, so we need to pass in our width and height here. Ah, goddamn. Hopefully soon, man. Inshallah, as they say, right? Okay, let's see what we end up with here if we add this. So now we should see a red square somewhere. Well, okay, I need, of course, to do I simply do replace back? Probably. Well, we do not see a red square. Did we not? Oh, we're not creating the list box, of course. We need to do that, of course, first. Let's do a list box here. List box, test box here. And we want to give it a const. No, not const. Unsigned int. Selected item. Hello, man. Welcome. And then we need some items, which we will initialize as something like test1, test2, test3. Too many initializer values. Well, buddy, you don't get to decide that. We could set it like this. And then we pass along our items here by reference. And well, is it because of the const? Pointer. Oh, whoops. Hello, buddy. I'm not sure what you're going again. All right. Thanks for dropping by. Um, Let's see. So we pass in. I hate these array. Specifications here. Wait a minute, I need to do this. And we could do a simple change here where we simply pass in the pointer here to the actual array. A pointer to array. Oh, okay. I'm making a Doom-ish clone, maybe a Quake clone with a bit of physics, and I'm making my own engine from scratch. That's what I do on these live streams. All of this is custom engine work, so I'm only using my own engine. Let's see, 3 objects, and we want to show 2 just for testing. Okay, and we already started creating our box here. So we need to start drawing the list box. So let's design the elements here. So we have our background. We need to draw that. Let's see. Let's do like this. Outline, no outline, fill. So we draw first our red rectangle. Because I find it fun. I do work on a hospital. Yeah, so I do healthcare work. I'm not a programmer professionally, but I do this for fun. And I know I could do. I've worked in Unity and Unreal before, so I know what those applications can do and how much more efficient it is. But I enjoy building my own engine from scratch. I know if you just want to release a game, you should do something else than what I'm doing, but I like the technical. No, 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 no. No, not at all. It's just me doing a hobby project. Um, yeah, I work a full-time job at a hospital, so let's imagine. Yeah, you're absolutely right. People should consider what they're doing if they're trying to make a living. So let's see if we draw a white square on it as well. Of course, good luck with your exam, man. And thanks for dropping by. Okay. So let's do that. So we need to build another primitive that has the border margin as well. We did the calculation before for it, so let's just redo that. That's the background here. Then we want the inner background. And we might have to swap the order of this. So the X plus the margin here, we use border margin. I should create a style eventually. I'm probably gonna have to refactor a bit of this UI here, but border margin, and then we need to do the obj second width minus I think is it 4 times the margin, or is it just, yeah, usually it's 4 times the margin. Border margin, and then we want the obj second height here minus 4 times the border margin. Whoops. All right, we want the color. Well, background color. We do the red one here. And replace this, and let's do a float for secondary color, or maybe inner color. And let's do white for, no, maybe gray. Gray for now. And we create this with the inner color here. And we need to pass in our screen width and height, so we get the right screen translation here. And let's add the inner background here and see how everything turns out. We need to swap the order. I should probably create that first. There we go. So now we have a box. The thing is, though, that maybe we don't want to draw the actual inner box here, because it's probably going to be consisting of several sub boxes. Let's see. So maybe we want elements like this that are ordered and related to our scroller. So this will actually be the background itself. I know they are not even at all, but imagine like a window of sorts slicing this, and this gets drawn dynamically from the slider, which we will create by creating some kind of box here. Yeah, so we probably want to create the scroll bar. Hello. What I mean? So this slider over here controls. Hello. Controls where we can kind of like look up that. So yeah, I think we should build the scroll bar. Which will consist of the scroll bar background and the actual scroll bar unit, or what do you call it? Yeah. Okay, let's try building this scroll bar instead. So right now this doesn't need to get filled, but we will add a scroll bar here. So we will actually disable this. For now, then we will create another background here that we call UI element scroll. Maybe we just want the original background actually to contain the scroll bar. So the width and height should be plus the scroll bar. So let's set some temporaries here. Scroll width meaning 30. Float scroll height meaning, yeah, it's the same as the object height here. Well, we don't need to actually add the height. We simply just add the width here. And then we know that we want an inner background for the scroll bar. So now we can use this again. But instead we want to not only offset it on the X, change the delay of showing on the screen. I think we should be live. The stream should be 30 FPS, 1080p. Hello. So let's add our width here. And instead of the width here, we actually want... It is? That sounds weird. Are you sure you're live? Maybe the... Oh, you mean the chat? Because, yeah, that has a delay. It's because of the Restream platform. I might change it in the future if it's too annoying, but okay. So the width of it should actually be our scroll width instead. But of course, with the margins, the height should be the same as our background. So we offset by the entire background space and add the border. And then of course add the border to the height position or Y position. And then we subtract some margin. The height is the same. Okay, let's see how this turns out. Okay, our scroll bar. The chat, or do you mean the stream or the chat? So our scroll bar kind of missed and not probably. Yeah, chat is slow. I know. I can't really fix it. since I'm using Restream, which means that there's some lag on the actual chat. Since I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, restreaming is kind of like slow. Maybe, yeah, yeah, I know. But yeah, maybe in the future I'll swap to real multi-streaming. But yeah, I'm concerned how much CPU power I'll use on that. So maybe yeah. But yeah, I know it's a bit annoying. Other people have been commenting on it as well. Let's see. So we offset. Yeah, just need to check something, then I'll compile. So we add the, if we don't do anything here, yeah, the scroll bar is in the wrong side. I want to create a Doom clone of sorts with physics. So far, I created a physics engine and started working on the renderer. Right now, I'm building a level editor and a UI so that I can do some levels. After that, I'm gonna do rendering techniques like shadows and maybe, yeah, some lighting effects, maybe HDR or physics-based rendering. Why I decided to make a game or do something else. I'm not sure what you're asking. So up here we actually, okay, yeah, good question. I wanted to do um, everything from scratch. I've always wanted to, or rather, not always, but for a long time, I wanted to do my own game engine from scratch. I actually did some Unity and Unreal projects with some friends, and I always ended up like, why can't we just do the engine from scratch? I was more interested in building stuff programmatically. So yeah, that's how it started, and then yeah, here we are. Of course, this has to be uh, minus our scroll width here because we don't want to offset it also by the scroll width. We're getting closer. We're still not there. Um, well, yeah, it's been really fun. It takes a lot of work, but Yeah, right now we're not rendering much. Um, and it's not even multi-threaded. It's just basic DirectX12. So our width and height actually gets set up here. But I promise you the FPS will drop whenever we do more advanced stuff. Right now there's no shadows and no special effects or anything, so yeah. We might have to do multi-threading in the future. Okay, so the width should be correct. The height should be correct. Am I passing? Welcome back, buddy. Uh, let's see if we add to this. Does it get bigger? The background, yeah, it does get bigger, but we're really not offsetting correctly here. Mm. Hello, buddy. Welcome to the channel. Uh, so let's see. The X and Y position is related to the context. And no, I haven't done any networking. Hello. I can't guess it. It's you? Thank you very much. Is there a bug in this syntax here? You too, man. Thanks for dropping by. I mean, if we disable this and set a different color here. So we end up, if we just pass in the X here. Yeah. What are we trying to do? Let's just imagine this. So this corner here is our total width minus the oh, now I got it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I've been considering changing platforms for a long time, but yeah, I used Restream when my internet connection wasn't powerful enough to do real streaming, but now I have no problem. I'm just concerned that yeah, that I end up in a performance problem. It's an application that you can use to stream on multiple platforms. I mean, does this even change? Like, how big is the context is 500 pixels, I think. So if I change the width here, does it change as well inside the application? Well, it does. 300 pixels. So there's a bug somewhere. Um, there is a bug somewhere because we add the scroll width to our object here, but we want to render. I mean, right now it won't do anything because I forgot to add this one. Let's do some hot reloading here. Well, I'm definitely not doing any of that. So for some reason it draws out here. I mean, let me see the parameters here. The width and height, then the color. The width is alright. The position is bad. Let's see. If I simply do like this, it will render it to the correct size or place because the X plus the margin is right here, but we want to be over here, which means that this is the full size minus the, okay. Uh, oh, maybe I need to, oh, I probably need to do multiples of, wait a minute. If I do like this, shouldn't we, well, is there some problem? Let me just debug this. Test background, and we want to pass out the background dot position dot r and inner background. Let's see. Let's pause this. Test background. That's a pretty big difference. That's a pretty big difference. Do I have a problem with the scaling here? I mean, when I add the object width, I should be right here as far as I think. Let's see, plus the scroll width here, plus whatever that is. And then it just jumps further out. And if we don't add the background here to anywhere, we end up the same place or what? Yeah, we do. But does it change? Seems like it stays in the same place. Now that is weird. Maybe there's a bug somewhere in the calculation of this position here. Let's just redo all of this. Plus the border margin here, the scroll width, the object height, screen width and height. That is so weird. Why does it translate that into something so different? X. Let's do X plus well, yeah, the multiplication, or rather the addition, seems to be right now. It's just adding a bit of border. I don't want to do the scroll bar on this side. I want it to be, let's just test this out manually. Let's see if we have a breaking point. 34, let's do 70. That's still fine. 70. Let's do 250. Well, that's too far. Maybe 200. 200. Well, 150. Does this create it in a wrong size here? It's 300 pixels wide, or at least supposed to be. So if we do the inner background here, why do we end up in a situation where 300 is suddenly way more? Is it because we translate into screen space, so maybe I need to have it? Oh my god. Yeah. So whenever something is weird in terms of the translation into screen space, because when I add half the width to the X and Y, I end up in the correct position. Yeah, I need to fix that. Mm. I mean, the X should be then translated into normalized coordinates between 0 and 1. So yeah, maybe this calculation here in terms of screen space coordinates is not correct. The width and height are fine. The position X is probably not correct. Anyway. Because it's not supposed to handle it that way. Well, it offsets into the descriptor handle heap. So, for instance, if you have several descriptor handles in a descriptor heap, you can just offset if you want item number 3 on that heap. If that makes sense. That also explains why we probably have double up on these margin things. Yeah, I need to fix that bug eventually. Right now this will work, but okay. So we have a scroll bar background. And maybe we simply just want a scroll bar. Yeah. The offset is usually 0 in most programming. And it's just the pointer to wherever in GPU virtual memory you're pointing. So you can even have a heap that has several descriptors before it, but if you have the first one specified, then each additional offset will just take the next one in memory. I just think it's something like adding a uint to the pointer, and it offsets by whatever's um, um, internal heap alignment that's used. As far as I remember, if I show you my descriptor heap here, you need to store the um, device-specific increment size whenever you want to offset into the pointer. But I think the helper library that you mentioned there in the chat helps you with that. But I'm not certain how it works. I've never used it actually. Okay, so let's see. I need to uh, need to fix a translation bug where X offsets get doubled. Maybe also sizes get doubled. Fix it. Okay. I actually think that we would like a scroll bar that is simply just something like this. Yeah, I think you should learn OpenGL and C++ or C as a programming language and play around with OpenGL and C. You could even do C++ if you wanted to. I think OpenGL has some resources called Learn OpenGL. As far as I've heard, at least I haven't used them, but people really seem to find them useful, and it's a great starting point. Okay, so if we need to calculate our scroll height here, let's see, our height gets calculated from the amount of objects. Let me just print out the height here so I know what I'm working with. Height. It doesn't matter that I misspelled that. Okay, height 100. So during shown objects, did we only show 2 objects? Probably. That's probably why. Okay, it's a bit narrow. Yeah, we only wanted to show 2 objects. Okay. So this means that the scroller should be set to something like 2 2/3 of our total height here. Hmm. Well, do we store the information actually that uh, so the total range is here. But we don't store, we store the slider percentage. We could do something like our total range is equal to our obj second range times, yeah, we know that right now everything is hard coded as a something like 50 pixels. Mm. So that means that we have a total range. We can find the um, slider ratio, scroller ratio. Let's just call it scroller ratio, which will be the height divided by the total range. And let's set the scroller ratio here, or rather the height of our scroller here times we simply want to offset this. So now we have a scroller that's 2/3 of the actual height of the background. Since we can show 2 items, but there are three in the box. Next, we need to draw some elements here. And let's do a vector of UI elements, sub items that we reserve some space for, equal to our obj second. I know this code is messy, but we're just prototyping right now, so I'll definitely fix it. Well, do we want to do this? I'm not sure. So we want to be drawing parts of the list elements because we're scrolling. So we're just like selecting a part of the list of items here. Let's background color, please. There we go. And let's, for instance, say that this is our current list. We have 3 items, and we can place a window, which we will use here, no fill color this time. So we could be at our start position here, where we can see these 2 items, but we could scroll. This means that we could be here in the scroll animation, or we could be down here. We can't go any further than that. Our scroll position should be able to handle that. Right now we have no logic that controls the input and couples it to a slider value, but we will hard code it so that we can actually render our UI. So this means that we actually want to draw at least parts of multiple items. Huh. Huh. How do we solve that? Up here, the slider value will be 0. We would want to draw our objects but we only want to draw whatever is available to us. So we have our width and height as restrictions, no matter what. We will know that the scroller ratio describes how many objects we need to hide, because this is indirectly the range translated into pixels. The height is also what is visibly shown translated into pixels, which means we can simply divide by 50 and we would have a range of 3 and a height of 2 objects, because this list box is set to only show 2 items even though it has 3. So that's basically our ratio, and with our slider position, if it's 0, well, then we would know that we are up here. If it's 50%, it should be here. Actually, these should move and get rendered. So 50% multiplied by 2/3 is 1/3. Can we use that ratio for anything? Okay, this is tricky. How to calculate what to be shown. I mean, this needs to be fluid so that we can simply move this fairly fluid and the rendering doesn't suffer. So I need to figure out a way mathematically to translate this. So our slider percentage is the total percentage that it has moved. So when the slider is at the bottom, we should only see 2 objects. Well, this is a bit too big, right? But like these two. Also, how do we calculate this slider percentage? Now that is tricky. Okay. I'll soon be going, so I need to think about this maybe until tomorrow. I think this is as far as we've gotten. We actually found a bug, and Let's see. Whoops. We could do our yeah, I need to think about it off stream. Anyway, we at least got started on our list box here. We defined the scroller here. We need some contents and some scrolling. Once that's done, we need to, of course, couple some logic to the clicking, but that would be fairly easy to do since we've done it before. Yeah, but I think that was it for today. I can't really stream any longer. I need to go do something. Yeah, hang out with the missus. So thanks for everyone who dropped by and checked out the stream and interacted. There are so many nice people out there. I hope you find some inspiration or help, or yeah, just entertainment in some of the streams. I'll be working on this project during the weekend, so hopefully I'll see some of you there. Stay healthy and take care, everyone. And thanks for dropping